I need to remind myself that there's a little delay. So after I click play, it actually takes like 10 seconds before you guys can hear me. And if I start talking right away, then I get caught mid-sentence. Anyway, I've been asked by quite a few people about Dungeons and Dragons, and there is something in the works. As I mentioned before, the current Dungeons and Dragons is cancelled. But we are planning on playing something else and gathering people for that. So hopefully I will have some message within the month. If not me, then probably Archer Sargon will announce it. So we'll see. But yeah, like there is something in the works. Hopefully it's going to be better than the last session. And we're going to have fun with that. In the meantime, I was looking at what people are saying on Twitter, and it's very interesting, right? So, let me see if I can show it to you. We kept talking about this, and the reason I keep talking about it is that it's so revealing of everything we've been discussing for the last 5 years. Like it all leads to this, you know, stock photo images with very little fantasy, and it's all about the message. Like, there's nothing about fantasy, everything is about the message. And when you look at it, it's like playing a game of can you spot the checkbox? And, you know, like, you have, like, two ladies here holding hands. Obviously, they're not allowed to have breasts. Then you have, like, the interracial couple between a dark elf and a high elf. You got the non-binary person in the background. I mean, even the clothing doesn't match. Like you have, like, this mix of, I guess, like, dresses, you know, like fantasy clothing, and here you have, like, someone that has more of a modern contemporary style, right? Because it's not about the fantasy. They're not trying to show you that it's cool. They're just trying to show you that the message is there. And when you compare this with Japanese characters, like, you immediately get the vibe that there is a fantasy element going on. That like these are, you know, just not normal creatures. Like these ones are just like humans, like average humans. It's almost like tourists going and seeing something. Well, this one, the moment you look at her, it's like, okay, fantasy. Like the way she's dressed, like no one dresses this way, right? A fantasy setting, probably sword and sorcery type of thing, right? Completely different. This literally looks like tourists, which is why the word pisses them off so much, because so many of them are just that. They're tourists. Look at this one. Like, I think this is from the Goblin Slayer, right? Like, again, it's a spunky character. Like, she seems happy, right? Like, she seems excited to go on an adventure, and that drags you in. Like, when you see a character like this that's energetic and bubbly, you want to see, like, okay, well, take me on the adventure. Like, show me what the anime is about. Meanwhile, the tourist just hanging around there looks boring and bland. Like, seriously, all right? Imagine this. I just want to show you why this doesn't sell. If you're here, would you be excited? It looks like the most boring place on earth. Like, unironically, there's nothing happening here. There's nothing going on. It looks so boring and so mundane. You know, like, this is for old people to relax. It's when you're at my age and you're just very stressed from work. Like, you just want a place where nothing happens, right? And the problem is, like, Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to be for teenagers. Like, it's supposed to be entertainment for young people. Meanwhile, this is perfect for teenagers, right? It's like, okay, well, she's happy. She wants to go on an adventure. She's energetic. She's got spunk. And it's an interesting anime. You want to see more about it. But, like, for some reason, yeah, the message is more important than the fantasy itself. It's funny that Japan respects the original source that the Western society used to have. Yeah. I mean, it's going to the point where you can literally put any character you want in a cosplay and claim that they're the original IP. So, like, people are making fun of it, and they're basically showing, all right, well, this is now Lara Croft, right? And we are getting there. I mean, it looked as if it's a parody, but when you look at one of the new official IPs that Lara Croft is coming in, There's a character that has no legs. Like she has like both legs amputated, and instead she's got like two prosthetic limbs. And she's supposed to climb and do all the adventuring, right? Because like the thing is like no one is saying you can't have a character in your fiction which has like a disability, like maybe they don't have a leg or but like they're going overboard. Okay, so the character doesn't have either legs. It's like, okay, fine. But when you expect them to actually go adventuring by climbing stuff and going into the jungle and running around and doing all sorts of acrobatics, that is absurd now. Like you're going from the realm of believable, if you suspend your disbelief long enough, to the realm of absurd. And yeah, like people are making fun. But like literally, you can take any character now. Like you can just take a character from the street and dress them up remotely similar and say, okay, well, this is now Lara Croft, even though she looks absolutely nothing like her. And the thing that many people are pointing out is that we got a new one being released, and let me see if I can find it. Grooms actually spoke about it, and it's very interesting. So Grooms showed the new Lara Croft, and it's official. Like this is the Manjaw edition. And I'm looking at it, right, like Manjaw aside, like Lara Croft is supposed to be insanely beautiful. Like, she's supposed to not be average type of female character. Like, she's supposed to be, if you put her next to 9 other women, the 9 other women would look ugly, okay? Like, this is how hot Lara Croft is supposed to be like. And it's not just the manly jawline, like, she looks like Leon Kennedy from Capcom. But it's the action pose as well. Like, again, it's boring. It's stock photo-like. There's nothing happening. It's so mundane, right? Like, her face doesn't display any type of strong emotion. She's just, like, using 2 guns and she just fired the bullet, but, like, we don't know what, and she doesn't seem to be excited about being there at all. And not only that, but again, yeah, like, it's bland genetic, and look at her muscles. Like, look how muscular she is compared to, like, this is how Lara Croft is supposed to look like, right? Like this is something closer to the original character. And in this one, it's like, yeah, she's got sex appeal. Like you feel like anything that she asks, people will do, right? Like, you want to go on an adventure with her. But I guess it is what it is. I'm curious, like, how many years this shit is going to last. Because when you look at it, it's everywhere. It's like different companies that are supposed to be competing with each other, but because they're hiring the same consultants, they are doing the same stuff, right? Like look at this one. Like, this one is supposed to be dwarves that are smithing, and there's no smithing. Like, you get, again, it looks like humans, right? Just like normal humans. It doesn't look like fantasy or anything. It looks like just like average people in a corporate environment. Now, what's interesting is that something actually did happen recently, right? So, for those of you who don't know, there was a very woke individual. And this individual is an artist working for one of these AAA companies. And he has supported the diversity push for quite a while. Like on Twitter, like I think he was actually supporting the Black Mermaid. I may be wrong, but like, he was always justifying why diversity is amazing. But recently, he had enough, right? Like, recently, he said that he hates the fact that every single time he proposes a female character, like he's the concept artist, and he makes a female character that's black, and it looks somewhat presentable, the actual finished product looks absolutely nothing like the original, right? So as we get to see, she's aged up, right? Like, the artist himself is calling them that they look like grocery store aunties. Because, yeah, like, they're very plain, mundane, middle-aged, right? In roles that involve a lot of physical activity. And usually, they're the main character. And as I said before, it's like, if you want to cast the main character, you need to think, like, who your target demographic is. And increase it by, like, 5, maybe 6 years, right? So, like, that's how you usually hit with the target demographic. But, like, no, they're making her, like, the middle-aged aunt. And what happened is, like, he comes out a couple of days later. Like, he posted this on June 18th, and it took like 3 days. No, sorry, my bad. Math hard. It took 4 days, right? So in 4 days, he comes back up and says, After some private DMs today with other black developers, I will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games for the foreseeable. No more panels, articles, podcasts, nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is it an invitation to try and change my mind. So like, he literally got whipped into submission. It's like a political party. Right? Like, there's no creativity allowed, there's no free will, there's no personal opinions. You either get with the program or you get ostracized. And it's almost like he signed a plea deal for violating the unspoken rule. It's like, oh, you pointed out something that everyone else is noticing? Yeah, shut the fuck up, or we're going to make sure that you're never going to work in this industry again. And this is what's happening. Like, he is backpedaling from this. And it was like just a sane opinion. Like, we all know this. Like, we're all aware of this. You don't have to say it. It's painfully obvious. You know, like, again, it's not one character. It's not one company. It's everywhere. And we know it's not the case that art changed, because we do have art coming from Eastern countries, and we do have video games that were made before 2014 to compare. So, like, we know that this is the case. We're aware. But it's interesting that when some insider talks about it, they immediately get blacklisted. So, yeah, and there are blacklists as well. Like, we're aware of those too. Just make it make sense. Oh yeah, it's a grift. He was a weak coward. You know what? I'll actually fucking defend him. No. Hold on. I'll defend him. It's not worth losing your job for this, right? Like most people aren't very principled. Most people, they're like, okay, I just want to go to work, do my job, get paid, and put food on the table. That's what most people want, right? So this is too complicated for them. Like, you can't just be in an industry and you know that if you get blacklisted, you don't get a job anywhere. And not to mention, like, this guy was woke, so, like, if he got fired, it's unlikely that he would get a job. Like, there was a time, I think, back in 2018 or so, I don't know, actually it was 2016, 2020. There was, like, this trend where if you had, like, a person that was deep into social justice and they went and said, you know what, I'm out, or people from the left would be mean to them and they would kick them out, a lot of right-wingers would offer a hand in friendship. Like, we were like fucking Naruto, you know? It's like, Takada yo, you know? Like, basically, you'd go to them and reach a hand in friendship, and it's like, let's be friends. But the problem is, like, a lot of these leftists, they wanted to be friends for a little while, and then they started backstabbing, or they didn't learn anything from their encounter. Right, like, they would get canceled, they would get, like, for instance, Cenk Uygur is the best example, right? So, like, Cenk Uygur promotes Me Too, promotes feminism, and then gets kicked by his own tactics from the Young Democrats, I think, or Justice Democrat, whatever the fuck was called, right? Like, completely unfair. Like, you notice there was a coup there to oust him out, and he didn't learn jack shit from it. Right, a lot of people, Sargon included, was like, let's give him another chance. Come on, you know, like, maybe he didn't learn shit. That's how the left got power. Everyone too cowardly to oppose it. Yeah, but there was like a time when people could stand up, but now it's kind of very difficult. The best way to do it is like the left did it. Like, the left wouldn't oppose right-wingers, right? Like, if the left were in a company and they got some radical Christian as their colleague, they wouldn't complain or fight or get quit or whatever. No, like, they would wait until they were in a position of power, and then silently they would hire people that agreed with their agenda and not promote the people that didn't agree with their agenda until it was too late, right? So, like, once they had the numbers, then they organized what appeared to be like a grassroots event, and they would demand change. Like, they would demand that the CEO steps down, or they would demand that they get more power, etc., etc. Left Intersectionality is a comedy show that will never get old. I'm just curious, like, how long it will last, because it's coming to a point that people are noticing what's going on. They are noticing that it's a racket, and they can't cancel people. Like, that's the thing. They used to have this power to literally just cancel anyone that disagreed. But it's getting to the point where they're trying to cancel people, like with Hogwarts Legacy and with a couple more examples. Like, they're doing their best to do cancellations, and it just doesn't work. And investors are noticing this because the biggest thing that they had was, like, first of all, terrorizing CEOs that they may get fired. And the second thing was, like, if they kick up a ruckus and IGN writes negative articles, then the shareholders get spooked. And what ends up happening is, like, for a while it's working, but, like, now no one gives a fuck, right? And also, like, due to their nepotism and due to their practices, the product suffers. Like objectively, the product is wrong. You know, you can be a leftist, you can be a woke individual and believe in all the shit you want, and even agree with like the Forspoken vision, but at the end of the day, Forspoken doesn't launch. Like, day one is here, you purchased it, maybe you even spent $120 to play it a couple days early, and you just can't launch it. Like, the game doesn't work. And the gameplay is bad, and everything else is bland, and you realize that, okay, well, I may agree with, you know, they have like a black female character as the lead, and she's doing all of the Rick and Morty references, and she's fighting the patriarchy and shit, but again, at the end of the day, it's a boring game. So, it also costs $120, and the problem is starting to fix itself. Because even people that would not care about politics, and they don't care at all, it's like, okay, well, I can't play the game. And at the end of the day, I'm paying money for the game. Now, here's something interesting regarding Homelander, right? A lot of Americans, unironically, they cannot differentiate fact from fiction. Like, this is very concerning. I've never seen this in my country. Like the conversation that it's fiction and it doesn't influence reality just doesn't exist. It's being imported from America. But, like, basically the idea is that because you're watching fiction, therefore reality, you know? Like, if you're playing violent video games, then you must be violent. If you're watching this, then you must be that. If you don't like Black Ariel, you're a racist. That type of shit, right? Like, this just doesn't exist in Eastern Europe. And it seems that actors are starting to deal with this nonsense. You have the actor that plays Homelander, and there's people on the street that are surprised that they say, oh my god, you're actually not like him. And the actor is like, yeah, he's a psychopath narcissist, so yeah, thanks. Right? Like there's people that are unable to differentiate between the fact that the guy playing Homelander is an actor and he's not really Homelander. It's fucking insane. But I don't like how the actor is reacting, because when people are saying that he's like Homelander, they're actually offering a compliment. Because at the end of the day, unlike the actor Anthony Starr, Homelander isn't a Democrat. So you're still, you know, when you're being compared to Homelander, what people are saying is that you're actually a better person. Like, they're thinking you're a better person because you're not a Democrat, Anthony Starr. Right? Like, Anthony Starr is a big Democrat, goes out of his way to say that the movie is about insulting MAGA people, don't like it, don't watch it. Yeah, Homelander wouldn't do that. So I'm just saying, I think that maybe you should consider adopting what people are saying. Like, if they're saying you're Homelander, you should be like, yeah, I am. Absolutely. Because, like, the opposition is that, no, I'm not a Homelander, I'm a Democrat. And that may be worse, you know, unless you're in California now. Like, if you're in California, yeah, then it's fine. But if you're outside from California, yeah, people will judge, is what I'm saying. Like, they will give you the stink eye. They would rather believe that you're Homelander than a Democrat. The thing with Homelander is, like, you can avoid him, right? Like he's just one guy, and there's so many people, so you have, like, camouflage simply by being in the crowd, and hopefully he's not around. But, like, Democrats lower your lifestyle. Like, they want to take away your air conditioning, they want to take away your gas stove. Like, wherever you are, they will find a way to fuck with you. So, you know, even by printing money, by causing inflation, like, they're indirectly fucking with you. So all I'm saying is that between a Democrat and Homelander, I would take Homelander. It's like the question with the bear in the woods. You know, would you want to meet a bear in the woods, or would you want to be alone with the man? So, like, would you want Homelander or a Democrat? And I would be like, Homelander. Homelander, because he's not a Democrat. It's simple. Pneumol tramicroscopic silviovolcanic oniosis. Did I do good? He set out to ridicule right-wing people, and now it sucks to be him. The thing with, like, okay, I'll tell you my opinion about The Boys, right? Obviously that The Boys were somewhat political, and it's true. But like when they do leftist sarcasm, they actually nail it. Like leftist sarcasm, it's like, okay, so we got this corporation, we got VOT industry, and there's no question about it that VOT is a liberal company, right? Like they have all the LGBT shit, and they have like all of the social justice messages, and you know they film movies. It's like girls can do it, like all of that, right? So the sarcasm is that despite the fact that they pose themselves like they pretend to be woke, in reality they're one of the most capitalist cutthroat companies out there. They did business with the Nazis. They're like all of that shit, right? So when they talk about the media, they also talk about media manipulation, how the media spins things, right? But when they talk about right-wingers, like, they want to make fun of right-wingers, but, like, what do they have? It's like, okay, what do right-wingers do? Well, they believe in Jesus, okay, right? And they believe in conspiracy theories. Alright. And that's it. Is that how you make fun of right? Because like there's no punchline over there, you know. Like this is a caricature understanding of what a right winger is, because there's a lot of right wingers that don't believe in Jesus, nor do they believe in conspiracy theories. So you know, like you're not making fun of them for some reason, and it's like the way that they actually tried making fun of the right wingers, and they may have the point, was with Firestarter or whatever, where she's basically saying, oh yeah, like I'm trying to sell hope to people. And that's like kind of understanding it. It's like, okay, so you have like these disenfranchised individuals that are being mocked and ridiculed, and they just want to go on with their lives. Like they do not want someone else to interfere in their lives. And no one listens to them because they're disenfranchised, right? So they kind of got it, but, like, they didn't do anything with it. They went back to, like, Jesus. It's kind of weird, right? Jesus and evangelicalism. It's like, this is 2024. We don't do that anymore. Yeah, it's like a parody that's so absurd and off the mark that, like, what exactly are you parodizing, right? Like, where is the parody there? It's kind of like those, Disney cartoons making fun of the Japanese during World War II. Like, it's completely off the mark. You can only be right-wing 6 months at a time, I see. No, there was an experiment, and I think this is the answer to the problem. Like, there was an experiment where they asked right-wingers to think like left-wingers, right? So, like, they tried to see if a person that's a conservative can think like a liberal, and most of the people managed to do it, right? Like, most of the people that were right-wingers, they managed to accurately portray what a liberal believes. They don't agree with what they believe, but they understand it. But when they tried it with liberals to get like what right-wingers believe, they failed. And I think the reason is that most of the time liberals themselves have no idea what liberals believe. So there were like a lot of videos that went to these protesters that were like from the river to the sea. And the question was like, which river, what sea? And they didn't know how to answer. And there's like so many examples where like you get someone with a microphone going in front of a student. It's like, all right, so what are you protesting here? And they can't articulate what they're protesting. And it's like, okay, so you don't know your own ideology. How are you supposed to understand the ideology of someone else? Because at least I know what right-wingers believe. At least, and I can even differentiate between various factions of the right wing. But the left wing just can't. Like, the left wing is like, oh, we're liberals and everyone else is a Nazi. And I'm like, naruhodo. Mr. J, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Homelander more closely resembles the Bush-era American government than anything MAGA, especially in the first 2 seasons. Orange Man, he is not even close. Homelander has nothing to do with politics. Like, he's not a politician. He's an actor. Right? And a person with godlike powers. But he doesn't represent literally anyone from the U.S. Congress. I'm literally trying to think. I wouldn't even say that he represents the Bush era. Like that's the thing. Like you can't just force things into being. Like if you have a character that can play the part, that's fine. But in the case of Homelander, like he doesn't even empathize with other people. Like he doesn't even understand how other people feel. How can he even be a politician? Now, there are other characters in the universe that, for instance, they want to say, I think it's like Firecracker. Yeah, like the people that wrote it, they say that Firecracker is supposed to be like Margaret Troller Green, the politician. And I'm like, well, yeah, that again, no, like the way you described Firecracker is more like an Alex Jones figure. If you wanted to go for MGT, like you should have had the politician. It's like they generally like do not understand the sarcasm. Leftists are not liberals, say JDA79. They are the most illiberal bunch of assholes ever. Yeah, I mean, I'm using the word liberal because it's what's in common language and people know what I'm talking about. But like here in Europe, yeah, if you use the word liberal, it doesn't necessarily mean leftist. Homelander represents threat and terror. Yeah. Like, if you want to make a sarcastic comment about Homelander, it would be like the government gets super authoritarian because Homelander exists. But like, even then, no, you really can't. I don't know. I don't even think you can satirize Homelander simply because there is no equivalent in the real world to superheroes, right? Like, we do not have any godlike figure. We do not have any actual superheroes. So it's very difficult to satirize American politics using Homelander. Like, you can satirize using Vought Corporation. You can satirize it using the media in that universe. Politicians in that universe. But, like, Homelander, not so much. Because, again, like, there's no equivalent to him in the real world. He represents the average celebrity when given godlike power. See, now that's actually true. that is actually true. Man, like, these celebrities, holy shit. Especially if you watch the Oscars or you watch the speeches they give. And they all have the same opinions. They all say the exact same shit. They all surround themselves with an army of PR experts and they pretend that they're oppressed. It's like only recently, the actress which was playing Romeo and Juliet, she quit. And everyone's like, oh my god, she quit because of the harassment. And I'm like, well, how do you know she didn't quit because she saw the negative criticism that the publication was getting? And she's like, I don't want to associate myself with a production that's going to not sell tickets because it's actually bad for my career. It's what commies do to add friendly names to their bullshit. Oh, I love the one, like, my favorite is Hope Not Hate. It's like the most childish name imaginable. It's like when you're a fucking kindergarten. It's like Hope Not Hate. Oh my god. And all they do is hate, by the way. That's why I was to call them Hate Not Hope. But all they fucking do non-stop, they just hate. Non-stop, 24/7. You look at their posts, some of the most vile, vindictive posts you can ever imagine. And it's like, okay, and your name is Hope Not Hate. I see. By the way, speaking of Homelander, this was posted to me on Twitter. And look, like, all I can say, chat, listen, right? If I wasn't married, I could fix her. I could fix her, chat. Like, 100%, I could have fixed her. All she needs is love. Like she wants to be loved. That's it. That's the only thing. She's got the laser eyes, all right. But just don't piss her off. But if you give her love, that she will love you back. She just needs. You can fix her. Homelander is the endgame Reddit moderator. Ah, I see. Chat is saying, nah, no fixing her. I see. Well, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe she doesn't need fixing. Why am I rushing? Maybe she's perfect just the way she is. Alright, so something happened in Germany. This one was interesting, and I actually had to ask because I was curious. There was a sexual assault. I mean, it's Germany, right? So we have those in Romania as well, but like usually people are not afraid to talk about it. The media sensationalizes it, and then people demand justice, and usually the perpetrator gets arrested, or like something is done. But in Germany, it's a lot more difficult. It's like people don't want to talk about it. It's like, well, I mean, and in this situation, Apparently, the reason it's interesting because like there's many sexual assaults in Germany. Why am I focusing on this particular one? Well, in this one, the perpetrators, I think they were like four. They got away. Like most of them got away scot free, except for one, and that person served I think like just a very small jail time. But this woman goes on social media and she complains, right? Like she calls them bad names. Something with Auslander, I don't really recall. But she's basically outraged, right? And she gets convicted 2 days in prison. So I'm thinking like, okay, so the actual person performing the rape, they get less in prison than the person complaining about it. Wow. Deutschland. Now I asked, it's like, okay, but like, how does the average German feel? Because, you know, I can only think about it from a Romanian mindset. It's like Eastern European. Like, here, if it would happen, like, people would be outraged. They would demand, like, politicians resign. They would demand, like, who is the judge? Why did they make this call, right? Like, there would be public outrage. So I'm like, okay, but, like, what does the German think about it? And from what I was told, most Germans don't know. Alright, so I found the article. 8 out of the 9 rapists did not get any jail time, and only one of them got 2 and more than 2 years. But the people who are criticizing them are now being investigated and charged and given jail time. So the lady that's serving like 2 days in prison for it is actually serving more time than the people that were let off scot-free. And yeah, like asking the German Volk is like, what do you think about it? And they're like, well, most people don't even know it's happening. Like the media doesn't report it. Like I find out from Twitter, I find out from the international media, which is why they want Twitter suppressed so much. Like I just want to remind people that in Germany, when you had like the people singing, you get police breaking into your house for singing. It's like, what is the song now? Auslander raus? It's like foreigner out, right? So for that song, like police arrested people and shit. But like the names of the people singing was released in the media with their faces, and they got doxxed, and all of them got fired. Meanwhile, you have like a terrorist attack, and you know it's the one that got removed from Twitter. And in the media, they didn't want to show the face of the terrorist. So basically, like, they offer more protection and more respect than like, the average citizen that's singing a song. It's fucking bizarre. And some of them were quite young. I mean, you know, usually the law is supposed to be more lenient towards younger people. Because, like, well, maybe they didn't know any better. This is their first contact with the law. Like, okay, fine. But the Eurocop, yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't even know if it's a country anymore. Because people say it's a funny country. It's more like an economic zone. It's like a plot of land where economic transactions happen. That's my assessment of it. It's just like a place where you have economic transactions. And I think that's how the people look at it, and that's how they manage it. They don't manage it as like, okay, well, this is a country, we got a culture, we got our people. Like, no, they don't think that. In fact, I believe if you say the word our people, it's racist or some shit. Like, here in Europe, they always talk like this. It's like, oh, yes, our people this, our people that. Even Japan went and had, like, a speech, and they said something that if people come to Japan and they don't want to integrate, and they're going to be against the people, well, we gotta blah, blah, blah. But, like, they very much differentiate between, like, our people and the guests, right? So, like, you're nice to the guests as long as they integrate and they're being nice as well. But, like, when the guests are misbehaving, you're supposed to kick them out. This is when you start fighting the cops. I don't know, man. Like, I generally don't know the solution, but I can definitely see the problem. Like, I can 100% see the problem. American Outlier, hi V, hope your day is good. How's the stream? Well, it's midway, actually. It's midway. You know, yesterday you actually left before I promoted your manga. Like, I actually promoted your manga. I thrown the Ushikushi waifus to the chat. Everyone saw it. Debosh, Kushi. It was, I think you left. So, you should watch it. Yesterday. After you gave the super chat, I promoted your manga. People wanted your Twitter account. I gave it to them. There was another thing that I found interesting with PewDiePie. So, like, PewDiePie goes in Japan, and recently there has been a lot of issues with foreigners in Japan, right? It's not that there necessarily like have been more an uptick in issues, although maybe that's the case too. I don't know. But there have been like the Johnny Somalis and the people who, even though they don't cause a lot of trouble, they are so visible because they live stream it that they cause a public outrage, right? So like a lot of people are upset about it, and you have PewDiePie going around and saying, well, yeah, like these foreigners are ruining it for people like me. And then immediately you have leftists on Twitter saying, well, hold on a little bit. Aren't you a foreigner as well? And you know, like that's a dumb take that I don't get. It's like, okay, so if I'm a guest at your house and you have like 5 other guests and I'm behaving, I'm following all the house rules, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, right? I'm even helping you wash the dishes. But there's this other guest that gets drunk and starts groping your wife's ass and behaves in a very irrespectable manner, right? Just because I'm one of your guests and he is a guest as well, doesn't mean that we're connected. And I can say, yeah, that guy, he's a piece of shit. Aren't you going to kick him out? Like, it's completely reasonable in that scenario, right? Just because we're both guests doesn't mean that I would have to tolerate. In fact, if I have respect for you, and I respect you enough, which is why you invited me into your house, I should actually be the one that helps you maintain the order in your house. So when you have like someone that gets drunk and gropes your wife, I would be like, well, do you want me to help you kick him out? American Outlier, how hard was it to find artists for your manga? Oh my goodness, don't get him started. Stream rated mid by V. That's not what I said. No, it's like midway. Actually, American Outlier had a lot of difficulty finding artists. Because, unlike me, he didn't have a network of people. He wasn't high on social media algorithm. But he managed to find some really great artists through sheer passion and force of will. And then he introduced me to one of them, which is why I have Katobi, which is a really great artist that's working on my game. So, yeah, it was difficult finding artists. Again, assuming he hasn't left the stream, because usually does that. He just gives a super chat. It's like a super chat drive-through, isn't it? It's like you're going with the Kanye and you're just throwing a super chat, bam, 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 and then you're leaving. Huh? Gaijin Rouse. So we shouldn't let any guests into our house if it prevents weirdos from smashing your walls. Well, no, it's usually like you know the person before inviting them in, right? But yeah, like if a person misbehaves, like let's assume, right? You have a friend, and you've been friends with him for a while, and then you invite him over to your house, and when he's at your house, he actually gets drunk and gropes your wife, right? Does that mean you're not supposed to have any guests? Why would you think that? No, what you're supposed to do in that situation is to kick him out, right? And then talk to him the next day and have him explain himself. And if you believe the apology, okay, maybe you give him another chance. But if you give him another chance and he does it again, maybe you shouldn't invite that guy. Like, maybe that guy is not really your friend. Maybe that guy doesn't respect you. And if he doesn't respect you, why are you having business with him? And it's also, you know, like, let me put it this way. If you have a house and you're inviting one guest, okay, like that's a situation that you can manage. If he misbehaves, you know, you get the rest of your family and you kick him out. Now, if you're in a house and you're having 5 guests, well, the situation becomes a little bit more difficult to manage, right? But what if you're inviting 200 guests into your house? And there's no police. How can you manage the situation? Like if one of them wants to, like, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Jack shit, right? So there should also be a cap to make sure that you can handle the situation and maintain order. Yeah, I'm a guestophobe, I know. They should just go hungry in their own homes when we have food here. I'm going to use that on my main channel, right? So, do you want them to go hungry in their own homes? Like, we got food here. You have to be very selective who you allow into your house. I will tell you a story, right? This was with one of my exes, but like one of my exes used to have a family relative that she grew up with. Like, she didn't grow up with her parents. She actually grew up with, I don't even know what was it, like an uncle or something. Because like she was in a rural area and she moved to the city and she had to stay into a place where she could get a better education. So anyway, the whole thing is, this guy had a problem. He was a kleptomaniac. He stole things. And like he would steal everything. If it wasn't nailed down, he would steal something. Like, he couldn't help himself. And she wanted to bring him into our house. And I was like, no, I'm not going to bring him into our house. But what we will do is, like, we're going to go out on a restaurant so that we save face. And, you know, like, I mean, he raised you, so obviously, you know, we're going to treat him with respect. But, like, he's not coming to our house. And she's like, why? Because you told me the stories. Fuck. It's like, imagine the situation. If he actually did something, like, he's family. You can't go and be like, oh, well, why did you take this? And accuse him, and he's going to deny it. It's like, why put yourselves in that position? So yes, like, you need to be selective with the people that come into your house. American Outlier, thank you for the $10. He hasn't left the stream. He's still here. Yesterday, I was heading to the gym. He's touching grass, chat. Also, V, I work, LOL. Sometimes I'm still here. I just have you on the background while I'm coding and working. See, unlike me, he actually does something with his life. I need to work on my video game, and for some fucking reason, I had a writer's block for the last 4 days, and I kept procrastinating. I've been playing Age of Empires. When I'm playing Age of Empires, chat, you need to tell me to knock that shit off, because every single day I'm playing is another day that the game is delayed, so. Today, the voice actors required the lines, and I didn't have them. And I have never seen someone more upset in my life. Japanese people, I swear to fucking God. It's like, if you don't do things by the book, like if you told them you're going to give them the voice lines and you don't, you're in trouble. In big, big trouble. Big trouble. They have a way of talking that it actually makes you feel bad for what you did. Like, they're not actively aggressive. But they have a way of framing things that you feel like shit, and you're like, oh God, why did I do this? You know, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. But it's almost like insinuating that you have no honor. You know, you gave me your word and it's not here. How unfortunate. And I'm like, shit, fuck, I did give him my word. Why is it not here though? Like, God damn it, what did I do? How can I fix this? Like, tell me how do I patch things up? You know, it's kind of like that. Such an amazing culture, but like you need to have like a sense of shame and sense of self-worth, I guess, in order for that to work. It was a shame for this play, honestly. Like all the things you see in the ancient samurai movies with how Japanese people act, it's pretty much like that. Yeah, it's very difficult to disagree that it's not. Right, so basically, this guy contacts me with a voice actress, and I didn't have the lines for her today, and the guy says, like, listen, the voice actress has a strong sense of responsibility, and has been waiting for the script all day long. Our people in Japan tend to think that they must not make any mistake, so sometimes they are very strict on details when they get the first request. They are very careful and afraid of any mistakes. Now in Japan, it's 11 and 50 minutes and she still not got the script. You said that the script will be done today, So this is unfortunate. And I'm like, fuck, like when you frame it that way, when you put it that way, what can I say? God damn it, you put me on the spot. I feel like shit. It will never happen again. Jesus, like, I can understand the concept of harakiri now. Like, I completely get it. I'm like, well, if you frame it like that... It's like, oh shit. No, really, like, V, how could you, V? It's literally what I'm asking of myself. Like, that's the problem, you know? Because usually it's very difficult for me to feel shame. But, like, in this situation, no, 100%. Yeah, like, I feel like shit. I did not cry, though, no. Like, that's fucking bad. And it wasn't even my fault. It's the fucking animator. Didn't deliver on time. I'm here pissing and moaning rather than writing. You know, that's a good point, but I do need to pay the voice actress. How do you think I paid it? Oh, well, with the super chats that I'm making here, like, this is actually part of work, so I also need to do this, unfortunately. I'm not dishonorable. Late to the stream, late to your voice actors. What has Age of Empires done to you? Oh, goodness. I'm pretty fucking good at Age of Empires, by the way. I'm platinum. I ranked in platinum. I'm not good in micro, but I have a really good macro. And I kept going up the ladder, and it's like, come on, one last game, one last game. I want to get to Platinum 2. I can get to Platinum 2. If only they can nerf the goddamn Byzantines, then I can get my Chinese all the way to Platinum 2. And every now and then I get a player and the game stalls and I alt F4. I'm like, I'm not going to play the stealth game. This is ranked. There's a new Age of Mythology. See, I like strategy games because they can't make them woke, and then you play the new, fuck, what it's called. Then you play the new, blah, 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 the new Homeworld. And because it's woke, they managed to get people on it that are so fucking bad, right? Because, like, the message is more important than the talent. So they kick off the talent, and then you have, like, a strategy game, which is literally who has the more units. Like, there's no micro, like, there's no point in microing. No, it's like, you build more units than the enemy, and you win. And I'm like, oh, fuck. For the poor voice actresses. You know what, like, the voice actress I work with right now, she's so fucking nice. Jesus. So fucking nice. Like, I asked her to edit. She didn't overcharge me. She's, like, asking reasonable prices. Was doing everything good, and I'm like, wow, okay. They're remaking Age of Mythology? Hold on, let me see this. No, I don't believe it. Didn't they already remade it? I think, like, they already remade Age of Mythology. So, Age of Mythology Extended Edition, is this the one? Age of Mythology Retold. Oh. Okay. Ah, the Manjaw! The Manly Jawline! Ah, okay.
We return to you now as the gods of mankind.
Okay, it looks fucking dope. I like it.
Rulers of the Greeks and the Norse.
The Egyptians and the Atlanteans.
Okay, so you start with all of the civilizations from the previous expansion packs. This is really good.
We created mankind to fight for our glory. So rise and wield my wrath.
Command beastly chaos.
Rain down destruction.
And unleash our fury.
Worship me. Claim my power.
A legend
Will be yours.
I love that, like, yeah, I do see that they had some woke consultants, because, like, every single man is naked. Every single man is showing naked tits, and the women barely any breasts, and the manly jawline. But other than that, look, if you're making Age of Mythology, and you're just upgrading the graphics, I'm fine. Like, that's all I needed. It's literally everything. This is, yeah. I don't care about anything else. Just do that. But will they be able to do that? No new civilization. Well, you know what? Like, if you manage to make the game with all the previous civilizations added, then I'm happy, and then you can add more with expansion packs. Like, that's fine. Take into account that in the first one, I think no, actually, you did have the Egyptians, the Atlanteans. Yeah, the Atlanteans were in the expansion pack, right? So you basically get, like, all of the previous civs. It's hard to balance so many civs, so it's fine. You know, like, just have, like, 4 civs at the beginning, and then balance the game, and then add another one. Like, I'm okay with that. It does look woke, but, like, in a strategy game, the characters, they're so small that it doesn't really matter, right? They're tiny. All right. I think we can end it here. That's pretty much all the news. We covered everything. Except for Asmongold not wanting to play Elden Ring anymore. And I'll make a video on my secondary channel about that. He still plays Elden Ring, but the press reported that he doesn't, so. Anywho, right. Go into my secondary channel, because I'll upload the video within 10 minutes or so. So I'll see you guys there. Take care. Oh, maybe you can look over the super chats. Holy shit. Last time I actually missed the super chat, and I felt really bad about it. She was so nice, yet you were still late. It wasn't just my fault bad. It was like the animator didn't deliver it on time. And then when I wrote the script, I still need to get it translated. So, like, the translator did its best with what little they got, so. Let me see if I missed anything. I don't think I missed another one. But yeah, I addressed all of them. Jesus. Why is it YouTube announcing me that I'm getting super chats? I need to make, like, one of those things where they go like, da-da-da, da-da-da. You know, like on Chatterbait, and you look at the girls, and they have, like, that thing. I need one of those like that. Anyway, right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the super chats. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.